Welcome back, everybody, to the Pick and Roll live stream for a Wednesday morning show here. And there are 9 NBA games on the slate. So there's 3 free picks on the way for you guys today. How the show works, we're going to give out those free picks. We're going to go to Pips for the handicap behind all of his plays. Then we're going to have a discussion piece. Today we're talking about the Bucks and Doc Rivers, how poorly they have played considering their record and what it looked like under Adrian Griffin before we wrap up the show by recapping all of the picks that we had. So if you're ready for today's show or you enjoy what you see along the way, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for weekday content every weekday this in the mornings with myself, Jacob, and Pips alongside of myself. But let's get one last final check in on the 3 picks that are going to be given out today, just to make sure we have the prices accurate for the graphics and make sure everything is fair and everybody can get the same numbers for this one if you're watching live especially. And indeed, we are all set to go here. So for starters, we're going to be going to DraftKings twice, and we're going to have 2 picks on the same game. We're going to start with an SGP with Paolo Banchero. Typically, Pips likes to go with these sort of correlated plays where we have an under on points and an over on assists. This is no different. Under 23.5 points and over 3.5 assists for Paolo Banchero at the Pelicans, and that's minus 120 odds at DraftKings. ESPN Bet currently does not have alt lines available for players. However, later in the day, even perhaps by the end of the show, that could change. That could have a better price. So if you're watching later on in the day, please make sure you check all of your outs, ESPN Bet being one of them. And perhaps if you want to just stay patient, you might get a better price there. Second play that we have is in the Magic and Pelicans game as well. As I mentioned, this one is just straight up Jalen Suggs over 11.5 points, and this one is at minus 110 odds. And the third play, we go to BetMGM. We're going to the Trailblazers and Hornets matchup, and we're taking a three-leg parlay for DeAndre Ayton, 20-plus points and 10-plus rebounds, and we're going to add on Scoot Henderson, 5-plus assists to give us plus 100 odds. All right, back to that first play there. Let's bring in Pips. Paolo Banchero, he's the thumbnail for today just by luck. What do you see matchup-wise? The Pelicans are going to throw at him to limit his scoring, but maybe make it a bit easier for him to set up opponents or set up for teammates.
Yeah, last time they played, Paolo Banchero notched up his triple-double. He had insane game. They were doing like they always do. Defensive Pelicans, they are limiting players, protecting his drives, and allowing him to get assists. So if you take a look at Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic offense is a bit spread lately. No big scoring nights from Paolo. This is last 16 games against teams like, without including teams like Pistons, Jazz, and Wizards. So outside bottom 6 defensive teams, this looks under in 15 out of the 16 games. Looks great. He's always close though, like 23, 23, 22, 21, 20. So I use this to same game parlay this. In that game, I can see also he's most the way he scores most of his points is pick and roll ball handler. Pelicans are number 1. They are collapsing on his drives on his pick and roll game. If you take a look at similar players, they held KD under his average, Tatum under his average, Butler under his average, Kawhi Leonard under his average, and Paolo Banchero under his average. So yeah, those are similar archetypes of players. So everything looks great for his points under, and his form is also not like he's on decline with his scoring as the season goes. And if you take a look at the assists, over in 26 out of the last 30. The highest one on the graph is 11 assists against the Pelicans the last time they played. He had 19 potential assists in that game. So yeah, it's very well correlated. I mean, when he starts to drive, they collapse. He kicks out to the Suggs, Wagner, I don't know, Harris or Wendell Carter. So that's kind of a game they're playing. So this makes sense to go together, and we are getting a good price for this. And I love the spot.
All right, there is your first play for Paolo Banchero, but in the same game, we're taking Jalen Suggs over 11.5 points. What do you see that's going to be open for Suggs that maybe wasn't quite there for Banchero?
Yeah, Suggs is complete opposite of this. He is spot up guy. He is cutter. He is running transition. As we can see lately, he's been great with 22 or more minutes. He is over 14 out of the last 17, 82% clear rate, 14.5 average. Also, the highest one on the graph is the game against the Pelicans, where he scored 22 points. Not just a shooting luck, he had 14 field goal attempts in that game, mainly because of this. Driving kick wide open. Driving kick not only from Paolo Banchero, but also from Franz Wagner. So driving kick game, he had a great looks from the three. He had some cuts when they double on Banchero, so easy layups, transition stuff. As you can see, he scores most of his points as a spot up in transition. That's the only two weak spots of this Pelican defense. And yeah, form last game against the Pelicans. Play types looks great for the Sox here, so I'm going with it.
There is your second play for Suggs. Let's go to the third play here. Looking for some dominating here as we have DeAndre Ayton 20 plus points and 10 plus rebounds. Scoot Henderson 5 plus assists. Even odds at MGM. What do you see matchup wise on this side of things?
Yeah, the Hornets at 5 are just terrible, and yeah, not much to say about it. Like perfect matchup. This is his rebounding. First off, his rebounding. Last 11 games with 28 or more minutes, average almost 15 rebounds, over in 10 out of 11. It's correlated. Like if he's getting minutes and he's scoring, he should be able to stay on the floor and get the rebounds as well. So correlated with his points, but his points are the main driver, main force of this bet. As if you take a look at his scoring now, over the last, I think, 16 games, I had it on the clip. You can just open the points now.
My
So
bad.
yeah, over the last 16 games, he's over this in 14, average 23.5. And most of these are actually difficult matchups. Okay, against the Spurs, expected over, but he scored 27 against Nuggets, 22 against Nuggets, 22 against the Wolves, then 22 against the Celtics, 31 against the Knicks, which is insane game, and then had 20 and 20 against Magic and Pelicans. Now against the best matchup. So last time he played them, he scored 26. That game we had Simons and Grant playing, and Simons and Grant combined for 40 field goal attempts, or even more than 40. Both are out now. We have Scoot Henderson running the point. They're mainly will be playing pick and roll game. That's it. Scoot Henderson last game against the Orlando Magic, the most difficult matchup in the league for the assists. He had 9 assists and 18 potential assists. Now gets one of the best matchups for assists. So yeah, he's over this line in I think like 8 out of the last 9 with 30 plus minutes. So yeah, this is a great spot for both of these guys together. I like Scoot assist. I like points and rebounds for Aiton, combine it all together in these terrible games like Portland Blazers and Charlotte Hornets. That's just abyssal game for anyone. Like that can go so like that game can finish like 40 points. The difference it can be overtime. It can be 250 points score. It can be 180 points scored. Like so, I didn't want to do the two bets. I'll go with the one combined and hope all goes well because it is a perfect matchup for both.
All right, so 3 bets for today. That's what we got. We'll recap them a little bit later on. A question came from Kevin in the chat asking about Suggs. Would you take it at minus 130? And I replied in the chat, but it's a good opportunity to showcase one of our sponsors, the BetStamp app, because it's very easy to go to the BetStamp app, look up Jalen Suggs. I'll walk you through the process of finding Jalen Suggs player props and finding the best number. I can simply go to the BetStamp main page, scroll down to the Orlando Magic New Orleans Pelicans game, open up the player props section, find Jalen Suggs, go to his point lines, and it easily provides you where the best odds are available. So there's access to a minus 110 at DraftKings, Betway, ESPN Bet, but if for some reason you can't access any of those, you can even find BetMGM minus 115, FanDuel minus 122. I know there might be some people out there for sure who are only betting at a place like Caesars It's good to have access there, but for a bet like this, he's minus 139 there. You're getting much better prices elsewhere if you just use a line shopping tool like this and see what's available in your region sportsbook wise. We have a link pinned in chat, and there's a link in the description as well to see what's available in your region. And if you sign up through that link with the BetStamp app, you can support the show a little bit more. But with that, let's go to the recap of the previous show's plays. We always track our bet history on BetStamp, so it's easy to see and transparent for everybody to see how the show is performing. And unfortunately, we do have a losing day for the show. Tough one overall. Donovan Mitchell, really good line there, ends up sitting out of this game, so that is a void. But the 2 losses come from Emmanuel Quickly. Did not foresee a minutes restriction there. Only got 27 minutes, I think it was. If he gets 30 plus, I think we get over the line there. He finished with 9. In fact, there was one play late where RJ Barrett kind of took a rebound off him. Frustrating to see. Sabonis goes just over his point line again on us. We've been pretty even with Sabonis bets this season. I know it can be frustrating to see a player finish just above or just under when we have an over or under depending. But like I feel like that's maybe more frustrating when the player like crushes the over when we have the under or vice versa. But Pips like his numbers there. It is what it is. Sabonis ends with 22, but we do get a winner on Zubac over 19.5 PRA. He finishes with 24. So we've come down a little bit, but we are still profitable on the season despite the hook counters going against us, despite everything that's happened with luck-wise this season. We are still in the profit, always taking widely available numbers at that, and hopefully finishing the season strong. But let's go to Pips here on the recap. Any words overall for these 3 bets that did actually see action?
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell was one of my favorite part of the season. Sucks to see ruled out. Quickly, minutes limit. Yeah, he played 22 out of the first 36 minutes, then started the fourth. They didn't make any buckets in the fourth, so they were just getting killed in the fourth, and that's it. Like 27 minutes, 9. I expected 34 for him. That will be like 11 or 12. Yeah, can't do anything about that one. Sabonis one is actually, I went to sleep at the halftime. He had 7 points. Zubac had, I think, 16 PRAs at the half. Then second half, Kings were completely destroying the Clippers entire game. And then the Clippers tried to go small without Zubac. And then Sabonis scored 3 putbacks. Yeah. I didn't see that happening because I thought like this will be a close game. But this is actually a blowout game, 20 points in the fourth. He comes back and makes 2 tips and goes up. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, sucks.
Yeah, and with a player like Sabonis, I think because there's been some concerns over Sabonis in the chat here. When it comes to a bet where perhaps a player, maybe for your bets, he hasn't done well on your bets over the course of a season, though in Sabonis' case, it actually probably is. If I remember correctly, when I did count it all up, I think he's like very slightly under 500. That might make it like 2 under 500 for us out of about, I think it's 10. Anyways, does that factor into your handicap when you have a player that maybe has done well for your bets? Or is this something that you try to ignore and just stick to like the data you have, the numbers that you make for players?
If I see a terrible matchup for a player and I bet his points and he goes other side, that probably means there is no correlation and I should look more into it. So there are some players that goes complete opposite of the matchups. One good example is Anthony Davis scores most of his points from the paint, but he is scoring like 5 points more average on the season against top 10 team in paint defense. So yeah, if you are betting him under against teams that are great at paint defense, doesn't make any sense because it's not correlated with his performance. We have data to show that Sabonis is very well correlated playing against teams with good size at the five and good rim defense. We have the data to see, like, filter out all these games to see is there any correlation. So there is a huge correlation with Sabonis, just not this time. Three games earlier this season against Zubats Clippers, he stayed well under. Now his fourth time he goes over. We bet him twice. He lost the third one. Like, nothing to do there. Like, if Zubats is they played with Zubats to match his minutes as they were doing in the first three quarters, I think he stays under still. So can't change much.
When it comes to the end of the season, where you're seeing more guys sitting out, you're seeing more guys missing games, people are tanking, people are resting. Does this change your handicapping strategy at all for the end of the season, or does it mostly stay the same throughout the year? This is another question from the chat.
Yeah, I'm usually more cautious of blowouts. Most of the nights we see the slate with half the games with double-digit spread. Sometimes even like half the slate with 15 plus digits spread. In those games, I'm very cautious about the minutes. I look
Right.
into a lot of into coaches saying stuff at the interviews. Like, there's always some stuff like, we'll play this guy, we'll look to rest this guy, we'll look to add his minute. Like, always some stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely more cautious in this type of in this part of the season. But if a game is between two competitive teams, I treat it like almost like a playoff game. Like, games, for example, Golden State Warriors and Dallas last night, I treat that game like it's a playoff game because defenses are at that level now. Uh, currently defense against two competitive team is on the level it was like playoff game last season or season before. Not nowhere near the regular season type of defenses that we saw over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. So yeah, I just treat it like a playoff stuff game, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when it comes to especially like the before the show goes live, when Pips is preparing the bets, I'm preparing all the graphics. Pips typically completely ignores games with. Sorry, I won't say you completely ignore games, but you typically don't go towards games with big spreads for for the blow up possibilities, for the weird minutes involved. So that's part of the strategy later on in this season for sure. Final question on this sort of topic: do you think that with players sitting out, it certainly adds to the variance when it comes to sportsbook setting lines and just the overall results? It adds to the variance for all these differences. Do you think that benefits the handicapper and the bettor, or do you think that hinders your ability to make bets?
Both. It hinders the early ones because you never know what's going to happen late and who's going to be ruled out. So if you're betting some unders early, probably not a smart idea because you bet third scoring option under, and then second scoring option is ruled out, or first, and then you are screwed. But it does open up a lot of pre-game stuff, like 30 minutes before the game, an hour before the game, and you kind of know who is playing, who is not playing. These some role guys have a good spots to take. Last couple of days, I mostly like won the most money by betting an hour before the game with subs like 7 or 8 guys from the bench. So yeah, it for sure can be used in your advantage, but it has some downsides as well.
Okay, so hopefully some good information for bettors out there. If you want more information on near the end of the season betting, I did put a video out on this channel. I believe it was 2 weeks ago now or last week. But if you go to the video section on the homepage for this channel, you can find a little bit of extra information on perhaps altering your handicapping strategy a little bit at this point in the season, as Pips has alluded to just now. But we want to further the discussion overall and bring it to the actual NBA side of things here. Not really betting involved with this one, but I wanted to have a conversation about the Milwaukee Bucks. They were 30-13 with Adrian Griffin before firing him this season. They brought in an interim head coach who went 2-1 before they eventually brought in Doc Rivers, very controversially. Doc Rivers, in 19 games with the Milwaukee Bucks, has a 15-14 record. And if the Doc Rivers hiring raised eyebrows even when it happened at first, after seeing results like this, especially heading into the playoffs, there has to be some level of criticism to the front office. Pips, what do you think has changed so much about this team with Doc Rivers? Because even though there were some issues with Griffin, they were still winning games.
Their offense dropped a lot. I'm just looking at the numbers, and Bucks over the last 12, or since the Dockers score are 14th best offense in the league, and outside the top 10 in defense. So yeah, that's actually insane. Uh, the biggest thing is I think is offense a ton. Everyone was when Griffin was there, everyone was like commenting on their poor defense. With him there, they were 19 defense in the league. With Griffin there, but they were the third best in the league. And I think with team with Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Damian Lillard, you kind of expect them to be like top 5 offensive teams in the league. And now with Duke Rivers taking over, they are average. Imagine playing Giannis, Lillard, and they Chris Middleton, and even like they have great shooting with Beasley. They have still Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, being dead average in the offense. Like it does suck. I spoke about it when we in the Lakers game when we had Chris Middleton, how terrible it looked like last night. Also, they lost to the Wizards without Tyus Jones and Kyle Kuzma and
Yep.
starting center. Like they played with Vukcevic at the 5 against Giannis and they won. That's that's kind of a red flag for me. Like yeah, just insane. Yeah, I mean poor shooting. They missed so many wide open threes, but still, like you have overwhelmingly better team, like 5 times better than the Wizards. And their defense, Doc Rivers was like terrible. Like he decided to blitz Jordan Poole. Why would you blitz Jordan Poole? He won't be efficient whatever you do. Like, and they decided to blitz Jordan Poole, and he had 13 assists, and he was hitting wide open Corey Kispert, Avdia, and other guys. So you took difficult shot from Poole to leave Kispert and great shooters wide open, and they got killed in that game by doing it. And even they blitzed Poole, then fucked up rotation. Vukcevic had 3 easy layups, 4 easy layups. Like he's not an NBA caliber player, and he was like performing against this team. So yeah, this was terrible offense, terrible defense from the Bucks, and it's not like the players had poor game besides some shooting. Decision making was terrible. Coaching was
It's
terrible. Like
coaching.
coaching.
It's coaching.
So I'll just go through one thing in that I just open up the game to like it's insane. Like so as I said, Poole had 13 assists. That's I think it's season high. Season high 13 assists. Yeah. So we're trying to blitz Poole. Like he's an efficient whatever you do. Like, and then that opened the game for Denny Avdia 23 points, Corey Kispert 27 points, and then Tristan Vukcevic on the bench and Jared Butler had 14 and 17 points. This is
Just defend
embarrassing.
these guys straight up. Jordan Poole's
It's
taking
Jordan
ISOs.
Poole. It's Jordan
If
Poole.
Jordan Poole's taking ISOs 1v1 all game, I think you've done your job. He's going to shoot like low 40s, and you can make that up on the other end, especially when you have Giannis and Dame on your team.
Yeah, and then you leave open court shooter. Avdia for the cuts and yeah, I mean I watched the entire game. Somehow watched the entire game, and it was embarrassing. Like honestly, like every decision they made, like completely embarrassing.
I think overall, Doc will be measured by how they perform in the playoffs. But what typically happens with Doc is that his teams perform better in the regular season. Regular season has never been a problem. So I don't see how all of a sudden Doc's going to shift into this playoff mastermind. That has just never been the case. And it's looking like first round is not going to be an easy series. If the playoffs started today, they'd be playing the Heat in the first round. They have a chance of playing the Sixers in the first round. The Pacers have had their number all season. They could be playing them in the first round. So, yeah.
Embiid is back. Embiid is back. He
I
is
know
returned last
Embiid
night.
is back. So if it's the Sixers, like that is a big problem. If the Bucks don't figure this out, they could have some serious problems in the first round of the playoffs for a second consecutive year. I think it would be a fun series to see the Sixers playing against them. But I think the Pacers Bucks series would be awesome too because they've built up a rivalry this season. And I mean, the Heat beat them last year. That would be awesome as well. We're gonna see some playoffs are always fun, but we can see some really fun matchups here.
Yeah, I think if they're playing now and both teams are kind of healthy, the Heat and Bucks are going to the game 7. That's
And it's
okay.
Jimmy Butler time if it's game 7.
Yeah, I would say like obviously still more talented team is Bucks, but Poe is running circles around Doc Rivers. That's just one of the biggest coaching mismatches you can put out there in the playoff series.
Absolutely agree. So
Also,
Nick
Nurse against the
yeah.
the Doc Rivers, like those guys in that area, Nurse and Poe.
Hey, Nurse has beaten the Bucks before. Nurse has tormented Giannis in the playoffs before. Nurse knows how to do it, and if Embiid's healthy, he has the people to do it as well in Philadelphia. Again,
for sure,
fun times ahead. Maybe not so much if you are a Bucks fan, but hey, we'll see if they can turn things around and get things right in the playoffs because they still are a threat, definitely, to make a run and go all the way. But that'll do it for the show today. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of our content. Here were the 3 picks that we had on the show today. First of all, in the Magic and Pelicans game, first of 2 picks in this game. It's a -120 SGP at DraftKings. I saw it did open up at ESPN Bet at -119. So, hey, every penny counts. If you want to save a little bit, you can go bet it over there. But it's Paolo Banchero under 23.5 points and over 3.5 assists. And the second play in this game is also at DraftKings. Jalen Suggs over 11.5 points. Third play of the day is DeAndre Ayton, 20-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and Scoot Henderson, 5-plus assists. Even odds at BetMGM. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, let's hope we have a big day today. Really kickstart this final stretch of the season. And we'll be back here, same time, same place tomorrow for more from Pick and Roll.